Tonight, renewed hope for the family of Jennifer Hillier-Penny, who believe the body of the missing St. Anthony woman will soon be found. That story.
What we know about the statistics is that every 6 days in Canada, a woman loses her life.
Startling numbers and the reason why the YWCA is raising money to help survivors of gender-based violence.
Not just cruise passengers, but any tourists, they get more of that welcome to Newfoundland, and they recognize the importance of that.
It's not just about a cruise. People want to have experience.
Optimism after an investment for the West Coast cruise industry. But what else could it mean for the region?
We're live at the Confederation building tonight to light the annual tree ceremony and also start the winter lights across Canada. I'll have that and your full forecast coming up.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Heather Gillis, filling in for Carolyn Stokes this week. Our top story, Dean Penny has pled not guilty to first-degree murder for the death of his estranged wife, Jennifer Hillier-Penny. Divers are searching the waters off St. Anthony for the missing woman, and it's been 8 years. But Jennifer Hillier's family tells CBC that they finally feel hopeful there's a resolution in sight.
This year was a little bit different. All we asked this year was that everybody put a light on for Jennifer on their home. We didn't have a ceremony like we had in the previous years, but so much happened in the trial and the search, we figured this year we would just take a little break from what we've been doing for the last 7 years. We didn't know what was going on with the case, but I guess we couldn't know. They couldn't tell us any information. We felt like the case wasn't moving along at all. But after December 15th, after the arrest, we started getting bits and pieces of information on how they did work in the last 8 years, and we were really pleased with the efforts that the Major Crimes put into the case. Court's been treating us well. The proceedings went in our favor every time we went to court. We have a search with the Navy and our CMP dive teams in right now, so it's more positive than negative, that's for sure. I explained to somebody like being a dark cloud coming in the 1st of November, even though it was the 30th that she went missing. And when November would roll in, it would seem like you were on a timeline that you had to figure out what happened to her by the 30th. And it was always a hard, dark month. And last year's ceremony I went to, I said, I can't do this no more. These ceremonies are too hard. And we were kind of in despair. But just 2 weeks later, it was his arrest, so everything started to change from that point on. There's a search that started maybe a week and a half ago. It's been hampered a bit by weather. We had a lot of wind and rain, but this week, has been a really good week. They're down there in hard weather, rough waters, but they're down maybe 180 feet, we're being told. And some of the conditions is zero visibility, so these guys are made with a different fabric. They're putting their lives at risk, crawling on the bottom of the ocean, just feeling around for my sister. They're using technologies that can pick up things that wasn't originally on the bottom, so we're hoping one of those could be Jennifer. So bringing her home now is the main thing. That's what we need. And we're confident that they're going to find her and bring her back to us to give us a bit of closure. We need to put her where she needs to be.
The St. John's YWCA is asking for donations. The women's group is looking to bolster its NESS fund. That's a resource for emergency support. The CBC's Julia Israel has more.
December 6th is the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women, and one of the main roadblocks to safety for women is the cost. The St. John's YWCA helps survivors of gender-based violence, and part of that work is through an emergency survivor fund.
What we know about the statistics is that every 6 days in Canada, a woman loses her life. And that the realities for folks who are living with gender-based violence, it means that it's an everyday emergency. Financial support is the leading factor and need for survivors to aid in their pathway to safety. We say that we're going to get donations so that we can get those funds directly to the people who say they need them the most. And the NES Fund stands for the National Emergency Survivor Support Fund. It's a $1,000 financial support to survivors to access first and last months, to pay for utilities, essential furniture or appliances. We recognize that it is not going to solve everything, but when we listen to what survivors need and they tell us financial support is it, we've got to respond. We opened up the fund this year in September. It was closed within a month, and that indicates the kind of need that we are responding to. Gender-based violence affects everyone. And it's so prevalent that we know that folks must know or have experienced themselves, and we understand it's a really challenging topic to get out there in the open. So December 6th is really a time to, yes, remember, but it's a time for action. And for folks who have the means, donating to the YWCA St. John's Nest Fund can really provide life-saving support through that financial donation.
Seniors advocates across the country have written Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland. They're calling on the federal government to include seniors in the $250 Working Canadians rebate. Advocate Susan Walsh says seniors in this province have the lowest median income in the country, around $27,000. Walsh says people on fixed incomes are struggling to survive with the cost of living increasing. She says seniors are the biggest growing group of food bank users, and she has a few ideas of her own about how the feds could use the money instead.
I would much rather that the money was targeted to see the increase in the OAS that government implemented for people 75 plus be actually brought down to being available to people 65 plus. I think that government has some other levers available to them to really target those most in need, and but it's their decision as federal government.
After a record-breaking season, the Port of Corner Brook is making another big splash. Hundreds of thousands of dollars are being aimed at pushing cruise ship numbers higher for benefits beyond the dock. Layla Baudouin reports.
A picturesque day for the Port of Corner Brook with this cruising towards prosperity announcement.
Oh, I would say this is like the fjord of Norway.
Federal Innovation, Science and Industry Minister Francois-Philippe Champagne says it's no surprise that Corner Brook's port is growing visitor numbers.
The arrival of these majestic ships has become a significant draw for both locals and visitors, creating a ripple effect that benefits tourism and local businesses alike.
This season, the port welcomed double 2019's cruise numbers, 36 port calls, and 19 different ships. It would take 555 planes of passengers to bring as many people to the city, over 50,000 cruise ship visitors. To keep those numbers growing, Cruise NL just got $623,000 in federal and provincial funding to drive marketing and growth.
I know these kiosks that ACOA helped put here the other year, they're full, let's hope that we can expand and have an even more.
The minister's talking about these, where cruise ship passengers visit as soon as they dock off the ship. But what about businesses and tourism ventures that exist beyond here?
This is the first taste, and then it's out to the other areas.
ACOA and Rural Development Minister Goody Hutchings says this is just the start, and today's new investment will nourish what happens after cruise ship passengers leave the port.
So this gives them more money to do the marketing initiative to say, look, you're coming here, you're just not tying up at a wharf, because there is so much to offer.
When all tourists come, not just cruise passengers, but any tourists, they get more of that welcome to Newfoundland, and they recognize the importance of that.
It's not just about a cruise. People want to have experience.
With Canada projected to receive 1 million cruise ship visitors per year by 2027, Cruise NL says this port will be ready for its share. Layla Baudouin, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Questions about health care and the cost of living dominated the fall sitting of the House of Assembly that adjourned earlier this week. The Liberal government and the PC opposition say they're pleased with what they've accomplished, while the NDP is calling for greater transparency and more affordable housing. Here and Now's Mark Quinn has more.
The fall sitting started in early November, the same day the Liberals announced the site of a new hospital. They sat 14 days, with the sitting ending the day after a long evening debate. A debate that concluded with a new Information and Privacy Commissioner appointed by a close vote of 17 to 15. When asked about the sitting, Fury focused on the cost of living and two measures the federal and provincial Liberals worked on together.
We know that affordability remains an issue. That's why we were one of the first out of the gate to mirror the federal government's changes with respect to the GST on certain items over the holiday season in particular. Affordability remains top of mind for us. That's why we continue to look at the gas tax, second lowest in the country. We continue to look at affordability measures that will help Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, like $10 a day childcare, continuing to roll out.
The opposition leader says the PCs successfully held the government to account.
We exposed the lack of accountability and transparency with this government when it comes to spending taxpayers' money. And I'm talking about the land fiasco on Kenmount Crossing, which we still don't know. How much is it going to cost, and what's it going to look like? Are we buying the land? Are we not buying the land? So it's a total mess.
The NDP is keeping its focus on affordability.
I find it frustrating. I don't know how many times I have to bring up housing as an issue and need for solutions. And if I listen to the government, there's no problem. Yet I know that in up on our log, we have about 157 cases. This is just my district dealing with this issue. It's not going away. It's not getting better.
Fury confirmed there will be a provincial election in 2025, but he wouldn't say if it will be held before the next sitting of the House. The spring sitting is scheduled to begin March 3rd. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
You just saw a shot of the Confederation building there, and for anyone who's going to be passing along the Parkway in St. John's tonight and over the next little while, things are about to get a whole lot brighter. The Winter Lights Across Canada celebration officially kicks off this evening, and that is where we find our Ashley Brawweiler tonight, standing by outside. I know you're waiting for the big moment, Ashley, but it's still a little dark. How is it going out there?
Yeah, it's still a little dark. We're a little bit behind schedule here in the Federation building, but a nice little crowd in there, still enjoying some of the music from Peter Daniel Newman, who we chatted with a couple of weeks ago, if you can remember. He's just doing a couple of songs over there. And, we had a choir, we had a band, we had lots of things going on. The Premier talked, and so we're all waiting for that moment for the light, the Christmas tree behind me to be lit. And like, as you mentioned, we'll start the lights along the Parkway here as well. A beautiful night for it, for sure. We definitely have a little bit of light wind happening right now, but things are certainly going to turn a corner as we head through tonight. In fact, these temperatures that we're feeling right now outside are actually going to be some of the coldest temperatures, because things are going to warm up as we head through the overnight. Most of what will fall, as far as eastern Newfoundland goes anyway, will be rain and windy conditions as well. So this is nothing compared to the winds that we will see overnight tonight. If you have any Christmas decorations, you're definitely going to want to put those away for the time being tonight. You can put them back out again tomorrow, but for sure tonight, you're definitely going to want to put those away. Snowfall warnings in place through parts of Central as well. And then wind warnings and snowfall warnings extend for most of the coast of Labrador. And again, that will be for the tomorrow time frame for you up across Labrador. But winds tonight for the west coast even will be gusting quite significantly, especially those of you that are prone to southeasterlies will be seeing those winds gusting somewhere between 100 to 120 to as much as 150 kilometers per hour. So yeah, really strong winds on the way. We'll talk about how long this is going to last, and I'll have your full forecast coming up a little later.
Welcome back to Here and Now. A 20-year-old man from Bishop Falls has been arrested and charged for threats reportedly made against students and staff of Leo Burke Academy. According to the RCMP, the threats were made earlier this week. A subsequent investigation found that they were not made against the school, but rather against some individuals that go there. Leo Burke is a junior high and high school, grades 7 and up. The man has been released and is expected to appear in court at a later date. Police say there's no concern for public safety. And with no end in sight to the Canada Post strike, the Health Department is encouraging people to find alternative ways to submit important documents. Anyone applying for, renewing, or replacing their MCP card can fax, email, or drop off their forms. People renewing or replacing their cards can also go online and use MyGov.nl. Cards for first-time applicants will be sent by courier, but renewals or replacements won't be mailed until the postal strike is over. Anyone applying to the prescription drug program can email or fax those documents. On the West Coast, the Grenfell Art Gallery has 3 brand new exhibitions. An opening reception will happen tonight at 7 o'clock. And we already have a first look at the solo exhibition by Jerry Evans.
So today we're standing in Jerry Evans' new solo exhibition, Nelunin Uktahamguk Life Givers, which I curated here at the Grenfell Art Gallery in Corner Brook, Newfoundland. So Nelunin Uktahamguk Life Givers offers an assemblage of prints and mixed media works, some new watercolors that Jerry's created that kind of speak to themes surrounding food sustainability, food sovereignty, and thinking about the importance of animals and life givers here in Uktahamguk for the next 7 generations. So as you look around the room, you'll see a lot of prints of salmon and bears and seal and caribou, of course. So really just thinking about the significance of these two miigama here in Uktahamguk. I've been very privileged to work with him on 4 separate exhibitions this year, actually, as an independent curator. And Jane Walker, the new director of the Grenfell Art Gallery, had asked me if I wanted to present an exhibition of Jerry's work, having previously worked with him, and obviously both of us were incredibly enthusiastic and given the opportunity to share work in my hometown, as both Jerry and I call it, the best coast. So we're just incredibly happy to share this new exhibition, this brand new solo exhibition of work. Some of it is things folks haven't seen before, and some of it is some of the classics. A lot of folks in Newfoundland are very familiar with his work as well, given how prolific he is.
Well, myself, my primary medium is lithography, where I draw on stone with grease, and you treat it chemically. It's the whole principle behind it is that grease and water don't mix, and your drawing becomes grease-loving, your non-image area becomes water-loving, and the ink is grease-based. So I mean, and I use multiple colors, multiple stones, and it could be anywhere from 2 to 3 colors to 14 colors. Well, for me, I guess it comes naturally because I'm speaking to things that I know of, things that I'm learning about. I mean, I grew up snaring rabbits, hunting, and so on, and I know that how important that sustainability is, to the people, my ancestors, and even our people today. It's very important that we continue the stewardship and take care of what we have, so that it's there for the next several generations to come.
This month, the CBC is partnering with local food banks to help make the season kind. And here in Newfoundland and Labrador, tomorrow we have a special day of programming right across the province. Here in St. John's, we'll be broadcasting live from Bannerman Brewing Company here on Duckworth Street. The day kicks off with the St. John's Morning Show, and we'll be here all day long. We'll have live music, giveaways, and, of course, some special acts of kindness. The Community Food Sharing Association will be on site accepting donations. So join us and help us make the season kind.
Oh, hello. You could see the stage was ready. This big brown turkey was excited to meet you all on our turkey drive tomorrow. What a beautiful sunny day, right? But things will change tomorrow morning. We're expecting high wind and a lot of snow. That's why we have to postpone our turkey drive to Monday. So meet us right here on Monday between 7 to 8:30. Bring in your turkeys and make cash donations. There you go. I don't think I can do it better.
Welcome back to Here and Now, and time to get back to Ashley, who is outside the Confederation building along the parking lot. And I know it's a chilly night and it's about to get brighter as well. Your video was freezing up in the cold there a little last time, Ashley. We need to get you some hot chocolate, I think.
Oh, yes, there's lots of hot chocolate inside for sure. Everybody's actually just starting to make their way out here. Maybe we'll see this happen live over the next couple of minutes, but I did hear them say that that they're going to work on it. So Jake is a little 5-year-old who is going to light the tree, but let's just go to the forecast because it is a beautiful night tonight, and it's a little chilly, but it is going to be a stormy night. So let's jump right into the warnings.
Well, we've got a number of warnings in place from essentially the Burgeo Highway through the interior up through the Bayvert Peninsula, including areas along the west coast as well. That will be for tonight, and then into tomorrow. Snowfall warnings in place all along the coast of Labrador back through the Churchill Valley. Now, it will depend on elevation. Higher elevations will see more than the lower elevations. But the other thing to note is there are a number of wind warnings in place essentially across the entire island, not including, though, the interior around Deer Lake and Grand Falls, Windsor. Otherwise, winds will be very strong, including the Wreck House area, and then up through the coast of Labrador, up through Rigolette. So let's time those winds out. Already starting to ramp up for the Wreck House area, and they're just going to continue to ramp up as we head through tonight. The Wreck House area will likely be seeing those winds gusting upwards of 150 kilometers per hour. And even those of you that are in areas that are prone to southeasterlies on the west coast of the island could also be seeing those winds gusting as high as 140 to 150 kilometers per hour. Otherwise, most will be seeing somewhere between 100 to 110 kilometers per hour for the west coast. Now, overnight, winds will pick up as well for eastern areas and along southern areas of the island. Those winds gusting between 100 to 110 kilometers per hour. Exposed areas along the coast by the time we get into tomorrow morning could be seeing gusts as high as 120 kilometers per hour. So a good idea that if you do have your decorations out, your Christmas decorations, if they are not really secure, it's a good idea to put them away at least for the night, because as we head into tomorrow morning, still dealing with those winds, and even into tomorrow afternoon, those winds will still likely be gusting between 60 to 80 kilometers per hour. And then eventually, by the time we get into Saturday, those winds will finally ease. So let's time all of this out. The snow will continue to work its way north tonight. Eventually that will change over to rain for most of central, south coast, and eastern areas of essentially the eastern half of the island. Will still be seeing heavy rain through the night tonight and into tomorrow morning. Eventually that will end, but we've got that onshore flurry activity developing for the west coast, with most of the snow now concentrated tomorrow morning up across Labrador. As far as those snowfall amounts go, again, very dependent on elevation. 5 to 10 centimeters is a good bet, but higher elevations could pick up 10 to 15 or even more than that, certainly in the highest of elevations, and that will be the story up across the west, or rather the east eastern portion of Labrador as well, particularly in the higher elevations where you could be talking about 20 to 30 centimeters of snow. Temperatures will warm up tonight, hence that change over to rain. Areas that do see the rain, though, will likely be looking at between 20 to as much as 40 millimeters. And then Labrador, snow and blowing snow, this story overnight tonight. Winds out of the east around 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. Into tomorrow, though, that snow again very much concentrated up across Labrador. But as the temperatures cool tomorrow morning, we're actually going to see the rain and some snow squalls develop on the west coast. By tomorrow morning, still dealing with some heavy rainfall in the east, so mild temperatures, windy conditions, and then also that rain. Eventually that will taper off as we head into the afternoon hours. But again, those onshore flurries develop for the west and south coast of the island. And some of these could be fairly heavy at times. It looks like it'll continue for most of the day on Friday with that snow concentrated again up across coastal areas of Labrador, really right through to Saturday morning. Temperatures tomorrow will vary. They are going to drop as the day goes on, but we'll start around 7 or 8 degrees for the east, the west coast, looking at temperatures between 2 to 4 degrees, and then same thing up across Labrador. And then for coastal areas of the Big Land, you are looking at minus single digits, really north coast, otherwise between 3 and 4 degrees. But again, your temperatures will drop as the day goes on. With daytime highs tomorrow in Lab City, you're going to see some light snow and some windy conditions as well, but you'll be hovering around minus 11, and some stormy conditions up across Labrador, central areas of Labrador as well. Again, 20 to 30 centimeters is certainly possible. I'll have your long range forecast coming up a little later.
And I'm sure as you heard while I was just doing the forecast there, that the lights did get flicked on. You saw the cheering, and I'll just step out of the frame here so that you can see the beautiful tree. And everybody's gone back inside now because it is freezing. Gonna have some hot chocolate and enjoy the rest of the evening. So I'll be back a little later with your forecast.
Hi everyone, I'm Jane Adey, host of Land and Sea. We have a brand new show coming up for you on Sunday, and this one centers around the highway and a particular sign that you might have been noticing for many years now, 30 years to be exact. Have you ever noticed the Corey and Trina Rock near the turnoff to Bellevue Beach? No doubt it reminded you of the musical and comedy duo who'd entertained for decades. Well, Land and Sea decided it was time to find out the story behind that roadside rock.
Corey Crew and Trina Fulford were known as the Sonny and Cher of Newfoundland. Trina passed away in 2007. Corey is now 80 years old. Corey says they considered the rock to be theirs. We found out that, contrary to popular belief, they were not the artists. While Corey didn't paint the rock, he did write a poem about that bold highway boulder.
The Bellevue Rock by Corey G. Crew. The sun shone down like a picture frame on the Bellevue Rock with a Corey Trina name. It stood in wind, rain, snow, and fog, firmly placed in the earthly bog. As cars passed by that highway spot, the people viewed the Bellevue Rock. And as they looked, they little knew who painted the names. They had no clue.
So just who did paint the Corey and Trina Rock? Well, Land and Sea's hard-hitting investigation will reveal the story this Sunday. Watch for The Rock of Corey and Trina at 11:30. That's 11 o'clock in most of Labrador. And if you miss it on Sunday, you can always see it on Monday, right after Here and Now, or watch online on CBC Gem or CBC Newfoundland and Labrador's YouTube channel. Now, before I go, I'd like to say a huge thank you for all the kind wishes and greetings as we continue to celebrate 60 seasons of Land and Sea.
Seniors throughout Canada are struggling. Our seniors in Newfoundland and Labrador have the lowest median income in Canada, so we know they're struggling.
And that's why seniors advocates across the country are appealing to the feds to include seniors in the upcoming $250 rebate. We'll have that full interview with the seniors advocate when we return.
uncovering the story behind an iconic piece of local graffiti. Watch The Rock of Corey and Trina, Sunday at 11:30 and Monday at 7.
Seniors advocates from across the country are coming together to call on the federal government to include seniors in the $250 Working Canadians rebate. Susan Walsh is our seniors advocate in Newfoundland and Labrador. Susan, why are you joining the other advocates and asking for this money to also be available for seniors?
It was clear that seniors throughout Canada are struggling. Our seniors in Newfoundland and Labrador have the lowest median income in Canada, so we know they're struggling. And so it's my opinion that any time that government at any level is using money that has been provided to them by taxpayers to help deal with a cost of living measure, then it should address those who are most struggling with the cost of living.
You just said seniors here in Newfoundland and Labrador have the lowest median income. What can you tell me about that?
The difference between what the Canadian median income is we are $5,500 lower. We're about a little less than 27, or a little better than 27,000. So it's no surprise that they would be struggling.
The Prime Minister has said that this rebate is for working Canadians who need a little bit of extra support right now, but how much would this $250 mean to seniors?
It should be really targeted to people who need it most. And that would include seniors, but of course it would include people with disabilities. It would include families who are living in poverty. It would include a large group. And Heather, the other thing I'll say to you is seniors paid taxes their lifetime, decades, and they still pay their taxes. So why wouldn't we include them? Why intentionally disclude them?
Mm-hmm. Susan, you mentioned the cost of living and how seniors are struggling. It feels like everything is getting more and more and more expensive. What is the reality out there for seniors?
I've been in 30 communities last year, another 25 this year, so I meet with a lot of seniors, hundreds and hundreds. And I can tell you it comes up all of the time, the cost of living measures for many seniors. And our research is actually showing that if your family income is less than $40,000 in this province, which many seniors live in that, even seniors on pensions live in that, you're struggling. And that's what we're hearing as an office. Yeah, and healthcare, there is a cost to healthcare. Yes, we're in a country where say our MCP covers your doctor's visit, but it doesn't cover many other things. Some medications, your dentures, your glasses, all those things that cost and money and are costing more and more money every year on an income that's not increasing.
More and more seniors have been using food banks to meet their basic needs. What can you tell me about the use of food banks amongst seniors?
Seniors are the highest growing group of users of food banks in Canada. And I don't have the comparable information at this point for Newfoundland and Labrador, but I do know it's happening. In fact, we had done a fair bit of work as an office with Food First NL and with Bridges to Hope here in St. John's around what they're seeing, which is a significantly increased use of food banks by seniors and a lack of their ability to actually get nutritious food and to get the food back to their homes. So one of the things that we know that is during COVID, the transportation to get to and from a food bank was being provided, or the food was being delivered to help seniors and people with disabilities. And now we're in a situation where we're hearing from Bridges to Hope that seniors, they can't carry those heavy bags. So they're picking up tea, toast, light products that they can just, get on a bus and or walk with. As a group of seniors advocates, we did not say, do this initiative. We did not say we concurred with it. We said, if you're going to do it, federal government, we would strongly like to see seniors included. Certainly, if I had my way for seniors in Newfoundland and Labrador, I would much rather that the money was targeted to see the increase in the OAS that government implemented for people 75 plus be actually brought down to being available to people 65 plus. I think that government has some other levers available to them to really target those most in need and but it's their decision as federal government, and I don't have any authority. None of the provincial seniors advocates have authority to make recommendation at the federal level.
The seniors advocates across Canada have all come together now to call on the federal government to include seniors. How likely is it, do you think, that this will happen?
I'm hopeful. I am hopeful because, well, if for no other reason, certainly, seniors make up a large proportion of this country, and they are the voters in this country. So I think it should make people have some pause for thought. I also think that I felt positive that they took that portion out of their recent move to have the tax holiday. So that gives me some hope that there is some pause for thought happening.
Susan Walsh, thank you.
My sincere pleasure.
A powerful magnitude 7 earthquake shook parts of California today, briefly triggering a tsunami warning along the U.S. West Coast. The warning included San Francisco and the surrounding Bay Area before it was canceled. The U.S. Geological Survey says the quake was centered about 60 kilometers off the Northern California coast. There are some reports of damage, and the quake knocked out power to 19,000 customers in Humboldt County, about 5 hours north of San Francisco. A new report says food prices in Canada are likely to rise next year, but the study by 4 universities is forecasting an increase of 3 to 5%. Anis Hadari looks at what's behind the possible hike.
Grocery shopping is still getting more expensive.
Families really have a hard time cooking now in an affordable way.
You just learn how to buy things in like the large quantity when they go on sale.
I kind of have to pay it. You know, I have a family of 4.
And that family of 4 could pay up to $800 more to eat next year. That's according to the latest food price report from several Canadian universities. Overall, food prices are estimated to go up by 3 to 5% in 2025. Beef tops the list, projected to go up by 4 to 6%. Vegetables close behind, up to 5% more expensive.
We're a little bit unpleased with it being $1.49.
This produce wholesaler in Calgary says his customers notice rising prices.
It's part of the business, right? So stuff we used to sell for $5 10 years ago is now $10, and stuff we used to sell for $1.99 is now $3.99 or $2.99. Like, things naturally are going up. Everybody understands it.
The food report's own data also shows last year wasn't as bad as some expected.
Cyclical right now. In fact, I mean, a lot of people didn't feel it, but in 2024 was actually a bit of a break year compared to the last few years.
That may not continue, especially for veggies.
And that's due to climate change. It's due to currency fluctuations, and that's the one thing we're expecting in 2025. A weaker dollar is likely going to impact our grocers' buying power.
But even with the projected jump in prices, this wholesaler thinks it'll be okay.
3 to 5%, again, we can live with that too. That's actually it's positive news that it's not jumping up 10, 15, 20% like it was before.
Small potatoes compared to years past. Anis Hadari, CBC News, Calgary.
Well, Air Canada says its cheapest tickets in the new year will not include a free carry-on item on some routes. As the CBC's Sophia Harris reports, the airline's move is not going over well with passengers.
Air Canada is following WestJet's lead by nixing free carry-on for customers paying the cheapest fare, basic economy. Earlier this year, WestJet announced that passengers flying its lowest cost fare can no longer bring overhead carry-on on board. They can still bring a purse or a small knapsack, but any luggage must be checked for a fee. Today, Air Canada joined in, announcing that starting in 2025, basic economy passengers will have to pay $35 to check their luggage. And if they wait until they board, passengers will have to shell out more, $65 to check their bag. Now, most passengers CBC spoke with at Toronto's Pearson Airport weren't thrilled with the idea.
Kind of surprised to hear that they're charging now for that for economy, because it kind of defeats the purpose of the economy ticket.
I don't agree with any of the fees. I wish they would have to put at least a carry-on and a seat should be in the price.
Airline analyst John Graddick agrees. He says airline fees are getting out of control and that carry-on baggage should be included in the ticket price.
There are things that require, carry-on space. And I think that this is what I call a bridge pushed too far.
However, airlines often argue that charging fees helps keep base fares low and that customers only pay for the added services they want. An airline analyst, Duncan D, says for passengers who travel light, Air Canada's new rules may work to their advantage.
For the traveler who only carries on a small personal item, this is a boon for them because, frankly, they're no longer subsidizing the traveler who has a carry-on bag.
Air Canada's no carry-on rules for basic fares will apply to tickets purchased on or after January 3rd. So, if you are planning to travel with Air Canada, pay the lowest fare and bring your luggage, it might be wise to book your ticket now. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Toronto.
Hi, I'm Rick Mercer with the offer of a lifetime and a very big ask. In less than a year, the 2025 Canada Games are coming to Newfoundland and Labrador, and that means we've got company coming, big time. The numbers are mind-boggling. This coming August, 25,000 people from all across Canada are going to descend on this province for the Games, and every single one of them can't wait to get here. They've heard good things, so we need to ensure they have the time of their life, the games of their life. As a province, we've got to knock this one out of the park. So here's the ask. We need you to represent Team Newfoundland and Labrador at the Games. We need 5,000 volunteers, all ages, all skills. You would not believe the jobs that need to be filled, the experience you will get, the friends you will make. To make these games work, there are so many moving pieces, but the most important piece, the final piece, the mission-critical piece is you. Visit the website, join the team.
Welcome back. Time to bring Ashley back in for one final look at the forecast. And Ashley, I can see all those beautiful lights right behind you where you are at the Confederation Building for the annual light ceremony. Are you keeping warm out there?
Trying to keep warm out here. Went inside for a little bit of hot chocolate and some cookies a little earlier, and the winds are starting to pick up a little bit here at the moment, but temperatures are actually going to warm up. And after a mild start to Friday, temperatures will cool down as we head through the evening hours, and then we're actually going to see some squalls develop for the west.
So that's going to continue for the west coast through the night on Friday and into the beginning of Saturday. It looks like for, again, the west coast and even southern areas of the island, and maybe even the Avalon may see some of these streamers depending on how intense they are. With that snow generally continuing, again, central areas of Labrador, even towards the coast, you could pick up some more snow as you head through the day on Saturday. Overall, temperatures are going to drop, minus single digits for the west coast, central around a degree or two below zero, and a little bit warmer for the east. But again, still looking at that potential for some flurries, some sun in the mix too as well. It's actually going to be a fairly decent Saturday, other than the potential for that snow. Up across Labrador, hanging on to the minus double digits further west. Lab City about minus 13, otherwise between minus 1 and about minus 8 as your daytime highs up across the Big Land. As we head into the evening and then overnight into Sunday morning, a nice start to the day. In fact, it's actually pretty decent. But again, when we have this setup with the colder air and onshore flurry activity, definitely possible for the west coast, southern areas of the island as well. We will see some clouds on the increase, but for the most part, Sunday actually looks really nice for a good chunk of the island, and things will improve up across Labrador as well, with lots of sunshine in behind that area of low pressure, and temperatures moderating a little bit. So minus single digits between minus 6 to minus 8 across most of Labrador. The west, though, you're going to hang on to those minus double digits around minus 15. And then again, across the island, those temperatures will be sitting generally in the minus single digits, a little cooler, though, for the northern peninsula, and the potential for some flurries for you. The long-range forecast showing not too bad. Still have those sun icons in there through the weekend. Monday, same thing, just the chance of some flurries. And then either showers or flurries by the time we get into Tuesday. A bit of a warm-up there. With a temperature around 4 degrees. Now for central Newfoundland, you're going to be seeing the potential for some just a few flurries on Sunday. Overall, a very nice forecast with temperatures hovering near or just a little bit below zero. Western Newfoundland, a little bit more unsettled Saturday morning. Should see some sun in the afternoon. Unsettled for Monday as well with the chance of some flurries, but overall pretty decent. And daytime highs a couple of degrees below zero there. Up across Labrador, you are looking at your temperatures staying into the minus single digits, dropping though as we get into Tuesday. Overnight lows really dropping, and then we've got some snow on the way for Western Labrador late day on Tuesday. Our weather photo of the day, a great shot from St. Vincent's. Take a look at this. Those clouds, it looks like a cotton candy sky there. Thank you so much to Doreen for that great shot. And if you have any weather photos that you'd like to share with us, you can do that by sending them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Okay, thanks very much, Ashley. And some beautiful colors in that weather photo there. Some pinks, some blue, some yellow. And we're going to see colors like that with the lights along the parkway in St. John's now after the annual lighting ceremony. So that's it for the show tonight, and we will leave you with those beautiful lights. Good night. Take care.